Rage Pitch. Here with Aaron, my co-founder, and we got some really special guests today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves after I talk a little bit about the show. So if it's your first time seeing Rage Pitch, I'm not surprised. It's our premiere episode. So welcome. We're glad to have you. Basically, the premise here is Aaron and I, we've pitched a lot of things. We've been pitched a lot of things. And we also love playing games. And we thought, look, let's put those together. So what we do is we have people from all walks of Web3, gaming, NFTs, startups come in and pitch their ideas. But here's the catch. They got to do it while they're playing against Aaron and I in a quasi-competitive game. So today we're kicking it off with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And we have some really cool guests, people that we've known for a little bit. So I'm going to let them talk a little bit about why they're here. Agrod and Chatter, do you guys want to take over and tell us what you're here repping and pitching today?
Sure. So I'm Maggie. I'm one of the founders of Splinterlands. Splinterlands is a trading card game. You collect some cards, you fight with them. If you win, you earn cryptocurrency. We've been around for 4.5 years, actually almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in May. And we played 3 billion battles. We've done 2 billion transactions on chain. We've rented 1 billion cards, and we're kind of a thing.
Incredible.
Chatter?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much did the great explanation for the game itself. I'm Chatter. I kind of lead all the marketing and growth initiatives for Splinterlands. Also, just a lifelong gamer. Used to play Counter-Strike professionally, coached some Challenger League of Legends teams, and here to get my butt kicked in Call of Duty today.
Nice. Well, we're pumped to have you guys. Thanks for being here, and we can't wait to hear what you guys have been cooking up. Aaron and I have obviously seen a little bit of it. We're super excited, and yeah, we'll save it for the match. But again, to break it down for the viewers here, we're gonna start playing the game. It's gonna be a little competitive. I don't think anybody's here to get sweaty about it, but we're gonna play games, and they're gonna tell us they're gonna tell us what they've been doing, and we're gonna ask them some questions, and we're gonna try to keep composure and do that, and be really business minded while we're either getting wrecked or wrecking or doing whatever. So. Should be a good time. Let's dive in.
Awesome, guys. Here, so what we'll do is I'll start up the game, and then you can kick it off. Tim, you've got to join Spec Brew. So make sure you do that. Yeah, the lobby reset.
There we go.
And we're just going to get started. Again, it'll be trying to focus on the pitch while hopefully you guys beat us, right? So I won't talk too much trash, so don't worry. So
I think the game plan, Cheddar, we haven't game planned this at all, but I think what has to happen, since you actually have talent, I'm gonna be like a sitting duck, and I can explain the game while you kill them. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys, kick it off. I'd love to hear about what you guys have been working on.
Yeah, so some of what I was explaining, that this thing is, it's a trading card game. So we're on our 8th edition of cards. So we've been doing a ton of this stuff, right? So, you're going to want to buy cards. You might want some older cards and, get into this so that you can actually, hey, crap, I can't, what am I doing? There we go. Yeah, I'm already getting distracted. Look, you play this game and you play it by shooting people that you're on the show with in the head. That's how.
Yeah, it's a weird premise for a show, I admit.
I don't know. The hard thing is that I'm such a freaking noob that like trying to explain all this stuff. I get it. I can see the challenge of this. Hey,
so you guys have loads of transactions, and you
Chatter,
said you're on your 8th
I killed you. I'm
edition now?
sorry.
You're good.
I think he's on the wrong team, too.
Yeah, I think I'm 1v3 right now.
Yeah, you're 1v3. Here,
Who's 1v3?
Aggie, go ahead and hit escape, and then change your team.
Change team.
Oh, sorry.
And who do I want to be? Cortac?
You want to be Cortac, yep.
All right. I've always said that.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Nice.
So I think you were talking about, and it's hard, right? This is what we expected, but I think you were talking about how you've got a card game, you've got a massive user base. So what's next for Splinterlands?
So we're building a bunch of these different parts of the game together. So we have on Splinterlands. Oh, I'm about to kill you. Here, you have died. Sorry, Franco.
Oh, you got me.
So the different parts of the game, we're gonna go have Splinterlands, which is this like pretty standard trading card game piece, and then we also have a tower defense game that's coming. It's called Soul Keep, and then we also have a land and empire building expansion that's coming too. So um, so there's a variety of games that are sitting on top of that. If it's not those, then we also have a sports game. So we're building a sports game with MLSPA. So that's the Players Association for Major League Soccer. And then we also have my death. We also have like a whole new platform that we're standing up called Arcade Colony. And with Arcade Colony, the whole idea is that, regardless of what type or genre of game, you're able to go enter into this ecosystem. You're able to go build here and play here. And I think that's going to be pretty critical because,
sounds really
we want
exciting.
lots of games.
Pretty dope.
The biggest thing I learned about it is that like as we were developing this thing, we were trying to make an SDK to make it easy for folks, and it turns out that the SDK that we have works for Unity-based browser games. So if you've built the game in Unity, then you have a pretty good shot of being able to port your game into our ecosystem. And stuff like that doesn't really exist in Web3. I mean, there's some rudimentary tools that allow you to do that, but not really to the extent that we've put that together.
That's
So
really,
essentially-
really cool. And
Yeah,
so are you guys thinking of opening that up to games like commercially? Is that sounds like the vision? there?
Yeah.
That is
So
so exciting, guys.
we got a couple games that are in the like tens of millions of downloads that are they're Web 2 games, and they know that if they go Web 3 that there's a lot of money to be made. So we want to facilitate that. We want to help them. So yeah, they're gonna be coming along, and we want to help all these games do it. And each game that comes along, it gets even more so and more useful. Because the every time that it happens, there's going to be more and more players that are part of this ecosystem.
So growing the ecosystem at large by having these games come on, they're obviously bringing their player bases, and that's going to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing.
Yeah. Chatter, anything that I missed?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty spot on at this point. Sorry, it's hard to shoot and play at the same time.
Getting the double kill while
You're
you're
pretty good. You got a double
yeah.
kill. Yeah, you ripped us while you're doing that. So is it more like, is it an actual SDK that you guys are going to be putting out? Is it a platform? Is it an API? How does the tech look for something like this?
Yeah, it's an SDK, right? So the whole idea is that rather than having to figure out all of the Web3 components to add them, all you really have to do is figure out the like how to integrate them, right? Like we already built the components, we already built the library, we already built these pieces. This is meant to be sort of like prepackaged and ready for you. So if you're a developer, you don't have to like build all this shit from scratch. You just kind of integrate this tool, and you're good to go.
How are you guys planning on getting this? Are you looking at being part of like Unity's tooling that games can add through the store? Like, how are you guys hoping to reach the communities?
Yeah, so we might do it through the store. That's certainly an option. I think to get this thing started, one of the things that we found is that you want to dog food your own product, right? You want to use it first. You don't just open it up to the masses. You don't have 10,000 people. You get a ton of customers, but you don't have any good experience. So we want to be real careful with how we kind of like roll this out. So the plan would be to sort of do this on a piece by piece basis, find a couple guys that we think are, good games to launch with. Hopefully, maybe, I know everybody wants to go for the freaking to the moon on the very first thing that they do.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to kind of start small, test this stuff with like the smallest bite-sized projects that you can, and then go from there.
No, I think that's smart because to your point, right? If you can build something that's helpful for other games to have and to help them grow their communities, and that also grows yours, I think that's a great way to do it. And you don't have to go, 10,000 at the drop in my view, but I like that. But what you guys have done well, and another thing you mentioned that I'm really excited to hear more about is the game where you were working with the Major League Soccer Players Association, if I got that right. To me, that seems like it lends itself really well to your model with, with kind of, the NFTs and digital collectibles, obviously. Is that something you guys can talk a little bit more about as well? Share a little alpha on that, or?
Yeah, so that game is designed or supposed to go live in June. It's another trading card game. There's coaches and there's players, and you assemble teams, and then based off of when it's your turn, you get to make some decisions. When it's their turn, they're the ones making decisions, and then and your goal is to sort of like pass, dribble, get some. It's not. It's like a trading card version of soccer. So you're like, you're playing this character, you're using that character, you're choosing different, combos. You're putting skills on them. There's equipment. So it's kind of like a little bit of like Dungeons and Dragons meets soccer. It's like a little bit RPG and a little bit, just like a standard, but in the vein of like a soccer game.
That's pretty exciting. How do those elements, like, is there a plan for the like you talked about kind of customization and choosing players and choosing I mean, it sounds kind of like you're managing but also collecting. Is that something where how much is blockchain going to enter into that? Like win, loss, records, decisions?
No, I don't know that. We have like seasons and season rewards, and you definitely want to play better than not. But the rewards are going to be on chain. The cards are all on chain. The governance is on chain, and I guess technically you should be able to go pull up the history for all those different cards and what they can do. So there's going to be some of this for sure. But not every single piece of this is going to be on chain. You want a good balance of some on chain and some off chain.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, that's good to hear because
you don't need to put data on chain, all data, right? Because it'll just bog down the game, and you can still pull some data from Web 2, and that's okay. It'll be finding that perfect balance, and that's something that I think a lot of games struggle with. And when you talk about chains, I have a question about that. Is this something that you guys are planning to be multi-chain, or is it something that's going to be on the one specific chain at first, and then you guys are going to expand, or what is that approach going to look like?
And so initially, I expect this thing to be built on the Hive blockchain. We've done a lot of stuff on Hive already, and then over time, I do expect to try to incorporate, other like EVMs, maybe Cardano, even stuff like Bitcoin ordinals. Like. My hope is that somebody could come to us and be like, "Hey, I run a game studio," and I can go ask them questions like, "Okay, where did you build the game? Where did you want to build the game? How did you do it? And then what blockchain do you want to put it on? And what blockchains do you want to kind of like bridge your products to? Where do you want it to go?" Man, I gotta say, Assassin here is kicking my butt. Like he actually knows.
You're doing a great job with the pitch.
He does do that. He'll do that to me in friendly matches. It's not personal.
I'm enjoying the pitch, and I think like so. Splinterlands, I know is built on Hive, and so starting with them is part of some of your go-to-market. Like, are you going to bring partnerships to these games that come to you guys? You'll be like, hey, you can build with us. We'll also get you some sort of marketing power because look, we've got this audience. We also work with this blockchain. Is this something that you guys are going to try to do? Almost open up a partner program to kind of build on the platform. And I don't think you've dropped the name of it yet either. I don't know if you want to today.
Arcade Colony is the name. Yeah, I mean the plan should be anybody that wants to build here can. Again, I don't. I'm talking to like Fortune 500 companies almost weekly now. So there's giant people, but I kind of want to go start smaller because if if we take some of the biggest corporations in the world and we bring them into Web3 right away, I actually think that we have tech to handle that. But me thinking that we do and me actually having that are two different things. So I'd rather grind it up a little ways, make sure we get all the bugs and weird things, all the kinks out before really, like building relationships with these big guys. And when I feel like we're 100% ready, then we can bring them in. Because I don't know how many, you only get one try at a first impression, something like that.
Yep.
Well, that was dope. So that was the first game. That was the first game ever of Rage Pitch. So congratulations. That was fun. So we're undefeated as of right now. So good job, Tim.
That was, guys, my backstory from carrying our team.
I heard chatter in there. We're gonna do another. We'll ask a couple more questions here during this one as well. So I'm gonna start it up. Make sure that you guys can actually pick your team if you press R on the keyboard. So Tim and I will be.
Yeah, the controller.
Yeah,
Oh.
X. We'll be Spec Guru, Tim. I think that's the way we have it coded.
Okay.
Wait, what? Cortac? Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
So yeah, so for post recording, and so if you're joining us, I think we've got some new listeners. Rage Pitch is where we talk with awesome teams and hear about what they're working on. So we just did our first game. We heard about Arcade Colony, that's built from the team that built Splinterlands. I think you guys are building it underneath that brand as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it sounded like. And they basically are proving it because they have one of the most successful and awesome blockchain games out there today. So here, let's go ahead and get started, and then we can dive into some more questions.
Yeah, Chatter, you've been quiet though. I need you talking. This is totally unfair.
Yeah.
He was trying. I was
trying to carry you.
What do you mean? Teams look.
Chatter,
We get the
I'm too
teams
heavy
right?
to carry.
So Chatter, why don't we dive into what your role is on this project a little bit more? We can start there and how we're gonna, and then we can maybe angle some questions your way.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, with Arcade Colony and a few other projects that we're launching right now, I'm going to be really helping with a lot of the distribution, the brand awareness, and just the kind of general marketing for it. So, I mean, as we look at Arcade Colony, when we talk about partnerships and when we talk about trying to bring on kind of other brands or IPs and everything under the label, it's going to be a lot of kind of hand-in-hand work with myself and 16-Bit, who is our VP Sales. So really just trying to make that work and also avoid the grenades hitting both of us. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and 16-Bit's rad. We've met with him before too, and obviously talked with you guys. Can you? I like that you brought that up. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like? Trying to have you done a little bit of outreach? Are they to people that you guys have kind of collabed with before? What are you guys finding in terms of kind of the market for this, for like gaming collabs, gaming infra, tooling, stuff like that?
Yeah, the market has been kind of very hot and cold as of late. So last year we saw a ton of, especially Web 2 brands trying to jump into the Web 3 space. I mean, even with Square Enix last week trying to bring a lot of their games to Web 3 now. It's been pretty exciting seeing a lot of the hype around it and a lot of the just overall sentiment that Web3 is going to be this next big thing. But unfortunately, like when we do hit bear markets, like we have been as of late, it gets a little bit harder to really get those bigger brands in. But everything is just going to continue to skyrocket in Web3. I mean, everyone's continuously building. We're looking at kind of bigger brands getting more and more excited from a day-to-day basis. And I really just think it's a matter of time, especially with what's going on in the kind of traditional markets right now. For Web3 adoption to really become the next big mainstream thing. So brands has been awesome to work with. I mean, Major League Soccer has been, and the Players Association have been awesome to work with so far. We've seen big names like Red Bull and stuff look kind of eager to get into the space for sponsorships and everything else there. So really excited to see what's to come.
Yeah, and like I said, that one makes all the sense in the world to me. So I was excited to hear about that and hear the launch date. Have you guys found that
Now you're struggling, Tim.
Oh yeah, you go ahead.
You're struggling, Tim. It's hard.
I was Chatter was kind of keeping me suppressed there, both in the game and in the pitch, I guess.
And emotionally.
My question, emotionally. my question has to do with like marketing, and you talked a lot about go-to-market and partnerships and like finding MLS and working with them, and you know, adding characters and IP to games is a little bit different than getting teams to jump on and build with you in infrastructure. What is it? Are you finding that? And this is honestly just more of an opinion question. When you were marketing and partnering with people for Splinterlands, the actual like trading card game, was it? Do you think that was easier than now trying to do it to get teams to come and build on infrastructure, or is it about the same? So because obviously they're both completely different worlds.
Yeah, I think it's about the same. I think just really sentiment is the big thing that dictates how successful it becomes. Oh my gosh, sorry to talk and shoot at the same time.
Oh, he got us. He got us, man.
But I think with everything right now, like we're really starting to see this market come back, and so I don't think there was ever necessarily one point in time where a certain title was easier or harder to market. I think obviously with the more players, it becomes a bit easier to have that reach into a bigger kind of sphere. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I don't think that there's been any point in time where one IP has necessarily led to more success than another as far as partnerships go outside of kind of that sizing. But what I think really dictates it is the strength of the market and how much of a bull or bear we're seeing at that time.
Do you think we'll see games pull players into Web3, or do you think that players coming into Web3 will drive games? That's also kind of an opinion question and maybe a little chicken and eggy, but I'm interested to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be almost a bit of both. I mean, especially in the kind of sense of MLS and the game that we're building there. I mean, as far as players go, we're going to have this general kind of loving soccer enthusiast portfolio of players coming through that are going to get the rest of the league excited. But I think you kind of need both, where by one side hyping up the other, it's going to lead to a more kind of mass scale adoption. So when we talk about Genesis League goals, the soccer game that we've been building with MLSPA, the players themselves, what we want to do is get a specialized kind of card pack or look of the cards. You know that you're playing against a unique soccer player there. Those are going to be like sold down cards. They're going to be locked to their accounts. Those aren't tradable or anything. So if you see those specific card packs, you know that you're going to be playing against an actual player.
Oh, that's really cool.
In the MLS itself, cool. Which I think that's going to be, I was super stoked on that side of things. And I think that's just going to start hyping up the players. And then as those players get more and more hyped up and they kind of see the adoption and the effects that the MLS players are having on the general players, it's going to also kind of dog food that same sentiment back to the MLS players, which is going to cause them to play more. It's just going to be this whole like self-fulfilling cycle too.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I love that at every turn, your kind of focus is on not only building stuff out, but on utilizing it directly for, you know, to do it, right? And to dog food it. But I think that also helps in terms of adoption. So I like that sentiment a lot.
It reminds me of, do you guys remember, I think it was Halo 3, they released that virus, and only the devs had it, and if you were in a game with the devs, you got the virus badge, and then eventually everybody in the game had it. Those type of things are really cool to drive adoption, and it's like, you get people talking about it, and then they promote it for you, right? I'm still talking about that to this day in this call, and that was, what, like 15, 20 years ago, and so I think that's really cool. When you're talking with and this, feel free to push back because I'm just curious about like who you have to buy into it. Have you gotten some game studios to already agree to build with you guys? How is traction looking?
Well, again, we're early in this process, right? Mm-hmm. So, and our goal is not to go get as many human beings on here as possible on day one. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to make sure that everybody that's here has a good experience. So, you know, after we prove this out and like really get everybody here, then I think that, you know, we start getting more aggressive with how we onboard users. But, you know, we have like a handful of groups. I'm not going nuts with this thing right now. I'm just trying to get like a couple of games working on this, showing how it works, proving it out. And, you know, we've been using it since October. So don't get me wrong. It's not like this is the first day of the platform. But before we put like every single major game on here and everybody that might, you know, really, you know, be a giant user base bringer and tons of transactions and all this stuff that we got to be cautious with. we're taking this in baby steps.
That makes sense, and it's like we built some tech before, and before we brought that tech to market, we built on it. And there's no better way to prove that it works by saying, "Hey, look, we're doing it." Right? So I think that's awesome, and you guys obviously clearly know how to build a game that's fun and cultivate an audience around it. So I don't think that's going to be any sort of problem for you guys convincing people to use the tech, right, at all. So that's really cool. What do you guys see as being some of the competition in the market? Is there, or is this something that you guys see? Because obviously Unity has their own, marketplace that they just added some Web3 technologies to. And I know there's a couple of SDKs out there, but I know some of the limitations of some of them. And so I'm curious as if you guys view them as competition or what you guys your differences between you and the competition.
Well, generally speaking, I think that what we do really well is not just do like a lot of these games are like, hey, what we want to do is just have NFTs in our game. And that, sure, that technically meets the definition of a Web3 game, but that's like a really low integration into Web3.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of this thing is that, we're going to go as deep into Web3 as possible. That means that there's governance tokens. That means that like the guys are operating their own like financial side of this blockchain. They gotta do the whole thing, not just, we have some NFTs. So that's part of the challenge of this, and part of the excitement of this is that it's literally trying to make this as deep of an integration into Web3 as possible. And I don't think that's how the other companies like look at this when they're thinking like, what are we going to make? How do we integrate it? They're thinking more of like the basics. They're thinking about like what is the lowest level integration rather than what is the highest level integration. Oh, so I swear you guys have hacks or something like that, because I shoot you in the head and you shoot me and I die and you don't. So I think it's hacks or
that's just playing with Aaron. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, like I said, you guys are winning definitely the pitch piece, but him and I will take the W's on the game side.
I did finally get another kill. I hope nobody's watching like my gameplay specifically. It's about as embarrassing it could happen. Like
we are podcasting the gameplay, so people can if we have the person podcasting going through, they will see you play here and there.
Probably cycling through, yeah.
As long as it's not like
focused
focused
you guys are
on
definitely
me.
crushing the pitch, which is what that's what matters. So that's good. So what's the? It sounds like you guys have a pretty methodical and well thought out go to market. You guys are going to go, meaningful activations, not trying to blow it out. You're going strategic. You're going, select partners. What's kind of the game plan then in terms of are you guys looking for, just people to come on? Like, what's the thing you'd like call to action, people watching? Is there anything you want to shill, push, promote? Like, what would you like people who see this to do?
Not be embarrassed by my gameplay. No, you should start by joining the Splinterlands. I mean, most of what we're doing is like right now we're focused on other game development studios and we're focused on brands. And so like, yes, we're onboarding users every single day. 40% of the players that get introduced to us start buying things. That's really high in this industry. So it's pretty exciting. But I don't know, what we're trying to do is build out this entire ecosystem, and we want bigger and bigger partners as we go. So for now, just hang out and like play Splinterlands and check out Genesis League Sports and go to the goals game on there. If you own or operate a game, especially if you're in Web 2 and you're thinking about Web 3, come find us in Discord and come talk to us, and we can, walk you guys through what's the SDK, how does it work, how do your users join, how do our users join, how do new users join, and kind of like step through all those development hoops. But I think that's a pretty narrow group of people, and those are folks that we're mostly just going after. And at a year from now, I would be saying, play our kart racing game, play our fighting game, play our shooter game, play our all the different types of games that we might have. And that list of games and types of games should keep growing. But for now, just hang out, play some soccer, play some Splinterlands, play some tower defense, And just keep your eye on us because, you know, a year from now, there's probably going to be something like 50 plus different games that are all built using this ecosystem, which the next major step goes live in June. So we're like 5 weeks out from like a major launch of how this stuff all rolls out.
Well, I love that. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that
awesome.
as an ask, because what you're saying is, look, we've made these really fun games that are engaging and already have a lot of great users. And the thing you're asking is for people to go have fun and play your games and enjoy them and just keep an eye. I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, not you don't have to keep an eye for long, like literally 5 weeks, and we're gonna start pumping out games. And like each time that we do this, there should be like another game that we can just go to and be like, all right, here's, you know, you guys have a fighting game, you guys have a retro Quake 3 kind of thing, you guys have a racing game, you guys have a coin runner game, you guys have something like an empire building game. There's like a million genres of games, and you know, for the intrepid, they should be able to go convert their Web 2 games into Web 3 games. And like I was talking to guys literally today that like are building, you know, D&D and tabletop stuff, and like they didn't work with us or they didn't know about us initially, and they're like building all this blockchain stuff. Like they're like the instead of focusing on your game loop and your game application, you're like, how do I integrate NFTs? Like, how do I issue tokens? And you're going back to square one and having to build all the infrastructure that we already built. So it's my hope that we turn, you know, if you're a Web3 game, you have to do everything that the Web2 games did, and then you have to add this layer of complexity. So not only do you have to build all this game stuff, hopefully you can come to us and we can say, hey dude, we got this, relax. You know, bring us your game and we'll help turn it into a Web3 game. And that way your development time isn't like 80% blockchain and 20% game development.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's 95% game development and only 5% blockchain integration.
Right. No, I love that, because if you do that, right, then the game development side doesn't suffer for want of time and attention and resources. And it's something Aaron and I used to say to a lot of brands we would talk to. Was like, look, if you don't want to be running two businesses, right? If you're building a game and you're building your own Web3 infrastructure, you're basically running two teams, two pods, two companies at the same time that are very different. And so, yeah, I totally get it.
And for better or worse, that was so playing games and pitching is hard, because that was a pretty solid pitch. That last
Thank
one
you.
there.
Yeah,
that
nice.
was good.
Nice. Well, you
So
know,
give us a link to the Discord. We want to send users over. So go ahead and chill it. Is that where we want them to go?
yeah,
Yep, everything
hang out with
is
us.
everything is just going to be / Splinterlands, Discord, Twitch, Facebook, so on and so forth there. If you guys are wanting to participate in Genesis League Goals, which is the soccer game that we're building with the Major League Sports Players Association, that's just Genesis L Goals, all one big word, at every single social out there as well.
Awesome. We'll get those posted, and we want to thank you guys for coming on. We hope you had fun. Love the pitch. You guys definitely won the pitch, but like Aaron said, we'll take the W's on the Call of Duty. You guys take the W on the killer pitch.
Chatter, we'll have to play Counter-Strike. Maybe
Absolutely.
that'll be
Anytime you want to, man.
We won't stream that one.
Better to stream that too, yeah.
We'll put Chatter in the games that he's amazing at. I swear you guys both did Hacksaws, and you're like, look, we're gonna play the games that we're super familiar with and then hack them. I swear my gun normally is better at aiming than that. I don't know what happened today. You know, it's lead hacks. Clearly,
New mouse, you change your DPI.
Get a new mouse.
Yeah.
You're playing with your monitor off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even know that it was supposed to be on.
Well, thanks again, guys. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chatter. Thanks, Aggie. It was
Thanks,
awesome to have
Chatter.
you. Thanks for coming to our first episode of Rage Pitch. So this
Good
was
times.
great.
Thanks so much for
fellas.
having us.
Appreciate you
of
guys.
course.
Bye.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Dope. That was fun.
Thanks for watching if we're still streaming.
I think we're wrapping up. I had to mute. The dogs ended up starting to